Yeah, it's 6 p.m. Welcome all of you. Father, it's time for presentation. Welcome. Father, you're not audible. Kindly unmute your mic.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, I can hear you. Father,
Okay.
kindly switch over to the slideshow mode.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
fine. Go ahead, Father. Yeah.
So I was telling you, for the past few days, we have been looking at what is counseling, what is not counseling, the characteristics of counseling, and also counselor as a person and a professional. We also looked at counselors' values. Uh, then also yesterday, I was answering some people's questions based on also the beginning counselors' problems, their issues. Then ethical issues in counseling. Yesterday, we saw some of the historical beginnings of counseling psychology or counseling. Today, we will focus more on a few theoretical perspectives of counseling. What is mentioned here in the syllabus, psychodynamic, humanistic, and cognitive behavioral. Today, I will try to finish, psychoanalytic and mainly Adler, a little bit of Jung, analytical therapy. And if there is time, we will go on to humanistic, mostly Carl Rogers. And tomorrow, we will focus on cognitive behavioral therapies. Okay. Sigmund Freud is very well known, very famous. You have to either like him or dislike him. You cannot ignore him. He was at the right time. He was creating waves in Europe and the US. He was well known for his psychoanalytic concepts and therapy. He was born in 1856 and he died in 1939. Backdrop of Freud's thought. Freud formulated and developed the idea that many neuroses, phobias, hysterical paralysis, and pains, some forms of paranoia, etc., had their origins in deeply traumatic experiences in the past life of the patient. He was already a medical doctor. He and Joseph Brewer started helping people, especially those cases which were abandoned by other doctors. Some neurotic patients, were referred to them, and they tried initially one method which was not effective for all the patients. So Freud came up with his own ideas and his own therapy. Hypnotism was not very effective for all the patients. So he gave up, then came up with his own idea. So he believed, based on his experience with many patients dealing with them, he said, if there is any problem currently, the origins might be in the past, mostly childhood experience, which were now forgotten, hidden from consciousness. So the treatment was to enable the patient to recall the experience to consciousness, to confront it in a deep way, both intellectually and emotionally, and in discharging it to remove the underlying neurosis. This is what he believed and he did. He came up with fantastic ideas. For many people, it was difficult to understand in the beginning or accept, but he came up with the idea. In those days, thermodynamics was popular. The concept in physics was very popular. So they understood when he said psychodynamics, people understood because he explained to them water is there. If you heat it up, it becomes vapor. If you cool it down, it becomes ice. So, in the same way, same material, but takes different forms, different energies are there. So, in the same way, he was trying to explain our human mind, or the energy that we have into id, ego, superego. Okay. I'll explain a little further what is id, what is ego, what is superego. Look at the picture, Freud's conception of the human psyche. We have something called conscious and unconscious. Okay. He also talked about subconscious or preconscious. So all that is not part of that would be non-conscious. Conscious, we know, we are aware of, we remember only a few things. That is conscious. If you remember that you are seated now listening to me, you are conscious of that particular aspect of your behavior. You are listening to something, or you are doing something. You are conscious of your thoughts, you are conscious of certain things, but certain other things, or maybe the pre-conscious or subconscious, you normally don't remember. But if you take some effort, you can remember what you heard or what you saw or what you felt, what you experienced. That is, subconscious. Then there is something called unconscious, which we don't know. What we have stored, what is within, it is unconscious. We all understand the concept, but when Freud explained to people, many people were questioning whether it was true. How do you know? So this was the question even for the people who wanted to make everything scientific, wanted even the psychologists to prove everything. So even though this cannot be proved scientifically, he explained to them this is the structure of the mind. We have id, we have ego, we have superego, we have conscious and unconscious. He also mentioned that we have drives and instincts. He talked about three drives and instincts, eros, libido, thanatos. What is eros? It drives people toward acts that are sexual, life-giving, creative. Eros is not necessarily only negative, but also life-giving and creative. Libido drives people to experience sensual pleasure, not necessarily sexual, but sensual. I enjoy watching something. I am hearing music. All these will be connected with libido. I enjoy, I have pleasure. Thanatos drives people toward aggressive and destructive behaviors. Aggression comes from from this particular instinct. Okay. He also talked about life instincts and death instincts. Okay. He also came up with a fantastic theory in those days. There were not many developmental theories. And he said people grow up, according to the stages. He came up with 5 stages. He called them psychosexual stages based on erogenous zones. Eros, we know what gives us pleasure. So he said whatever is pleasurable, which area in the body, he based on that and then said we go through these various stages. Oral stage from, from the time a child is born to 2 years, anal stage, from 2 to 3, the phallic stage 3 to 6 years, latency 6 to 12, mostly puberty, and genital stage after 12, after puberty until we die. Each stage has its own, crisis. We normally grow up if we eat well, if we drink enough, if we breathe, we automatically grow in years. Chronologically, we grow. But according to the psychosexual stages, we go through, each stage with the crisis. If we get through that particular crisis, we can easily move on to the next stage without serious problems. Otherwise, we may carry the vestiges of the previous stage on to the next stage. Oral stage, this is the stage where the child enjoys, sucking. It sucks on the mother's nipples. Whatever you give, it will take to the mouth. Enjoy sucking. This is the pleasurable zone. Oral cavity is the pleasurable zone. people who go through the crisis very well, they may have good qualities like, speaking well. They may become linguists. They are, they choose the right words. They are very pleasant in conversation. They can also learn many languages. People who are getting stuck, probably, they can also take to smoking, drinking, anything that gives pleasure to the mouth. So once that stage is over, people go into anal stage. This is the stage where people give potty training, how to go to the toilet, how to be clean, how to be neat in general, not only when they go to the toilet. This is the stage also is very important in the individualistic cultures. Parents are found fault with if the parents don't give proper training called potty training. If somebody goes for number one or number two in public, the parents are ridiculed or they are found fault with. So this is important stage where people become very active. Uh, the twos are called terrible twos. When they reach 2 years old, they are very active. They want to do many things on their own. If the father puts on the switch or uses the remote, the child also would like to try. So anal stage is also given to perfectionism. We want to be neat, clean. If we go through the stage very well without proper, without carrying negative things to the other stage, we will be giving importance to cleanliness, what is the best behavior, how to be polite in public, etiquette, decency, we carry ourselves about neatly and so on. But there are also people who get stuck. The problem they can develop is anal retentiveness. That means, they are so particular that they have to be neat. They may be not doing much outside. And anal expletive people can be dirty, can make others suffer, can be rude, and so on and so forth. I'm going fast because we have many things to cover today. The phallic stage, that is the time both boys and girls, they are aware of their own genitals. They know there is a difference between a boy and a girl. This very important stage, according to Freud. They recognize, that mother and father are different. They are different from other gender people. This particular stage also has a crisis. The boy seems to be attracted to the mother, so much so that he wants to possess the mother. So if the father is not there at this time, the little boy may be happy because he can have the mother all for himself. Freud did not talk about girls very much because he was focusing on men. He did not give importance to girls' developmental stage so much. But he said all these stages will apply to girls as well. But it may not be true. There have been criticisms about these stages by people who are different or by women. So this is the stage the boy may develop one particular syndrome called Oedipus complex. Oedipus complex, the story is taken from Greek mythology. Uh, Oedipus was born to a Greek king, but the king asked an astrologer, what would be the future of my child? Is it going to be a boy or a girl? The astrologer told him, it will be a boy, but he'll be the ruin of your kingdom. So the king wanted to kill the child as soon as the child was born. So he arranged with a soldier to kill the child, but the soldier was sympathetic. At the same time, he could not disobey the king. So he took the child to a forest, tried to kill the child with a spear by piercing one leg of the child. And he left the child to die on its own. The soldier came back and told the king, I have killed the child. But the child survived. Animals looked after the child. When the child, Oedipus, was young enough, his hormones kicked in, came to the city where his father was still ruling. So he wanted to enter the city and find a mate, but the father came to know that he is creating a problem at the gate of the city. He came and then challenged him to a fight. Young Oedipus, having lived among animals, very strong, brave, so he did not know that he was fighting with his own father, and he fought with him and killed the father. Because he killed the father, his father's wives became his own wives. All his property, kingdom, everything came to him. And he married his own mother without knowing, of course, and then brought forth children. Later on, when he went on a war to a particular city, Sphinx told him the story of his own life, and he did not understand in the beginning. Later on, he understood the story was about him, that he killed his father, married his own mother, and even brought forth children. After hearing the facts, his mother committed suicide by hanging. He gouged out his own eyes. So, Freud explains this story and then says we have similar instincts, similar desires. If we are boys, we are attracted to the mother so much, we want to eliminate the father. Whether it is true for every child, that it is open for discussion. It may not be. Not all boys have the desire to eliminate the father. Very quickly, some people may associate with the father figure and may admire the father and be like the father very quickly without going through the stage. The next stage, the latency stage, in which all the sexual instincts go dormant. This is the time they go to school. They can study well. They can learn many languages, and they are very brisk. They talk among their own gender boys. Girls will talk to their own gender group, and so there is no problem with sexual pleasure and so on. After they reach puberty, Freud talks about the genital stage. Once they reach puberty, it is only the same stage for everyone, according to Freud. Even though Erik Erikson talks about 8 stages, that is psychosocial, Freud talks about only psychosexual stages. Freud also talks about fixation. It occurs when a psychosexual development is arrested at an immature stage. I already explained, and so if we don't pass the crisis very well, we may get fixated with some problem in the development stage, and we may carry the vestiges of the previous stage to the next stage and next stage as well. Okay. What is psychoanalysis therapy? Once again, the very word enlightens us. It is analysis of the mind. What is happening to the people in the mind? Mind, according to Freud, there is conscious, pre-conscious or subconscious or unconscious. So according to Freud, what is therapy? Bringing the unconscious to the conscious level. So how do we know what is in the mind? Freud will use a particular technique. I will explain a little later. So he will like to bring the unconscious, what is stored in the unconscious, to the conscious level. So he arranged for a relaxed atmosphere in his therapy room. He had a couch in which people can lie down with the head up. Therapist will sit behind the head of the patient so that he will not disturb the patient while he is sharing. He may take down notes copiously. In those days, there was no computer or computer or cell phone. So he started writing notes. He used a particular technique called free association because it is not very stressful to the people. Therapist will allow the patient to talk about anything. The therapist will only prompt him or her, you talk about this or say something about it. Then people will go from one topic to another. They will jump from one idea to another. They may have association from one topic to another. But realistically, rationally, if we analyze, There may be lots of gaps from one sharing to another sharing. So throughout the therapy, Freud will encourage the patient to talk about something, and he will take down notes. After many sessions, he will say, okay, now I have some understanding of what is going on within you. Then he will explain, he will interpret. But according to Freud, resistance is part of therapy. Nobody wants to get out of the problem. So they will resist when you suggest you have to change, or when you say you have this problem, or this might be creating a problem within you. Maybe you had this experience or this traumatic experience. People generally resist. Working with the resistance of the patient is also part of therapy. Not only the technique of free association, you have to deal with the resistance as well. Then Freud was known for dream analysis. He will ask the patients, write down the dreams. If you have a dream at night, wake up and write down, jot down important points, and then go back to sleep. If you have many dreams, write as many dreams as possible. So in therapy, he will analyze the dreams, because dreams are the royal road to the unconscious. If we understand the dreams, we will understand what is in the unconscious of the patient. Parapraxis, for Freud, anything will be a matter for taking into account. For example, slip of tongue or pen. You write something wrong. Making a wrong turn when you are driving, dialing a wrong number, misspelling a word, and also the jokes the patients tell. All these are matters for a matter of importance for the therapist, for Freud. Then when people share about their traumatic events or what happened in the past, when they go on narrating things, there is something called catharsis. You get purified by what you share. According to Freud, catharsis is purification. Then we have already seen what is transference and countertransference. I mentioned yesterday and day before yesterday what are transference and countertransference. Through all these, free association, he was not using, Freud was not using, hypnotism, because he gave up after he came up with the idea of free association. He was using all these ideas in his therapy, asked the patients to explain what was happening, what happened. He talked about anything, was taking down notes, and then after some time, when he got insights, Freud explained his interpretation to the patients. And when the patients got insight, they said, aha, now I know the origin of the problem, why I have been maintaining the problem. So this is how Freud did therapy. He also talked about a lot of ego defense mechanisms. I cannot explain everything because of lack of time. One or two: denial. When people know it is a fact, they will deny. Arguments against an anxiety-provoking stimuli by stating it doesn't exist. For example, if somebody is diagnosed with, let us say, some terminal illness, cancer or something, immediately we have a tendency to deny. How many parents deny that their sons or their daughters have created problem in the school? When the headmistress or the headmaster, principal tells the parents, your son is doing this, your daughter is doing this, immediately the parents will say, no, my son will not do. The same thing we will do to ourselves. No, I am not having that particular quality. This is not okay. This is not happening to me. That is one major ego defense mechanism. Why do we develop ego defense mechanism? Because, the ego and superego, they are constantly fighting and struggling with one another. And so we develop anxiety. When the anxiety level is very high, we have to manage. Ego has to manage itself. Ego has to be stable. Ego will develop all these techniques, which are usually negative, except one, sublimation. we will use some ego defense mechanism to manage the anxiety level. So displacement, intellectualization, there are some people who will explain away everything intellectually. You ask them, why are you late today? They will give reasons and explain, and you know that they are not accepting the truth. Reaction formation, it's a little complex. I'll try to explain. Suppose a man is sexually interested in children, which is unacceptable in the society. They are conscious of the attraction and sexual attraction. They want to do something negative to the children, but they know it is wrong. They should not do it. So they develop just the opposite behavior. For example, they can start a club for children so that children may be promoted to study very well. Okay. So, or for example, if the mother is angry with the husband, wife is angry with the husband because he is having an affair with another woman. And after some time, he leaves this wife and goes and marries somebody else. The mother of the children is very unhappy with her husband who went away. And there is somebody who resembles the husband who is away with someone else. Spontaneously, she rejects him, reacts to him in a negative way, but at the same time, she tells herself, even though he resembles my husband who is living with another woman, he is after all my son. So I have to be nice to him. So she develops a behavior in such a way that she is more nice to this child than to other children of hers. So this is called reaction formation. Regression, we go to another lower stage in the development. Repression, we completely repress. We don't even bring to the conscious level that something has happened. Like for example, I met one person who was gang raped many years ago. After 6 months, I met her, and then she remembered only people were banging the gates, and the next thing she remembered was that she was in the hospital. The gang rape that happened to her, she did not remember at all, even though others asked, how are you? Are you upset? Are you, having a lot of problems because of that? She did not remember. That maybe her mind has repressed because of anxiety. So sublimation, I have told you, suppression, you may suppress. Okay. So this is how, Freud did. Freud, analyzed the mind. He used a special technique. He had a wonderful theory, kind of holistic. He analyzed the structure of the mind, the ego, superego. Okay. Then they are fighting among themselves like energy is limited. Id is based on instincts, one's pleasure. Superego is based on once again instincts and beliefs, but it is a moral principle. Whatever id wants, superego will say, no, don't do it. But ego has to be a reality principle and then say, there is only limited energy. I'll give to id only a little energy. Superego can take so much. I need some energy. So they were constantly fighting. That is why anxiety and so on. So in order to manage the anxiety, people develop problems. Our present life is based on past life, especially negative experiences, attachment to the caregivers, and whatever happened will have connection to the present negative behavior. Positives also are connected with the with the crisis resolution of every stage. Okay. So if we have any questions, write down. Carl Jung, another student, a student of Carl Freud. He was from Switzerland, 1875 to 1961. Conscious, this is the one sec. The basic structure of the psyche. There are three levels: conscious, personal conscious, collective unconscious. I have no time to explain all these. What are the concepts? Some of the Jungian concepts. He came up with a theory called analytical theory or analytical therapy. He was a student of Freud, but he deviated from Freud. For him, some of the important concepts are individuation. We have to become separate. The same concepts will be used in family therapy also. He talked about archetypes, persona, shadow. He was the one who talked about introversion, extroversion. These are attitudes. And he said we also have irrational functions that are sensing and intuiting. And we have rational functions, thinking and feeling. Okay. Freud said, Carl Jung said, show me a sane man and I will cure him for you. This is Carl Jung. In a jovial way, he said that. Based on Carl Jung's concepts, we have now MBTI, Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, word association test, dream analysis, all these. Carl Jung was, very complex. His ideas, the very person was interested in many things. He was interested in mandala, which is well known in India. He was a mystic. He even came to India and then he studied about mandala and so on. He was interested in religion, images, and various other things. So even though there is no real structure to his therapy, many people believe in Jungian concepts and they use them in their therapy. Okay. Adler's concepts, Adler was born in 1870 in Vienna. He died in 1937. He also was a student of Freud. Okay. He was a student of Freud, but he also, had a split with Freud. Even though originally he was also a psychoanalytic person, he said, he believed in different things. Some of the concepts, I am only putting them together. Family and lifestyle information. So whenever Alfred Adler conducted therapy, he would collect data about the family. Not only the present family, but also the previous generations. As many generations as the patients could remember. Very often they would collect data about the 3 generations, which are very useful. Was there any mental illness in the family? Was there any person who was arrested because of some criminal action? Any misbehavior? What was, who married whom? Okay. Was there any divorce? All these informations, he would collect because everything would be useful in his therapy. So information about the family um, and also lifestyle information. There is a questionnaire, people can get it on the internet very easily. What is the lifestyle information? How do they live? What is their attitude towards life? How do they manage? There are various questions, you can take it for yourself. He gave importance to the birth order. Birth order is, in those days there were many children, not like now. Now we have only, one child or 2 children or 3 children maximum. We don't have many children. I'm sorry. Okay. So birth order, he talked about the first child. Among a few children, if it is the first child, it will have its own characteristics. Sometimes, they have only one child, only child. Only child will, get a lot of attention from the parents. There is no competition. That only child will sometimes, according to him, it may become very selfish, become arrogant, may not relate well with other people. So, only child will have certain characteristics. The first child, when there are only two children, or the second child when there are only two children, or the last child has its own characteristics, because certain siblings would have become older. They would also be friendly or caring for the last one, because it is the kid of the family. They will give gifts, they will protect the last one. All these will happen. But there is also somebody called middle child. He called it middle child syndrome. They are squeezed between two people or two groups of people. They may like to be different from others. They may be also squeezed by other members in the family. So, Adler studied about various groups of people, especially birth order, how they behave, and he also described the characteristics of every child. For him, relationships among the siblings was very important. How do they behave? How do they relate? Are there groups, or who is ganging up with whom? Do they feel one with the other people, or do they feel separate? What kind of identity they have? Okay, so both birth order and sibling relationships. He also talks about sibling rivalry. People may fight with one another, even though they are living together as siblings. They may be in the same house under the nose of the same parents, but they may have rivalry. If you do this, I will do that. If you get a piece of cake, I also need same size of the cake, or I need a bigger one. So rivalry was also part of growing up. Then for Adler, the idea of inferiority was very important. He felt many people feel inferior. We all have reasons to feel inferior in something or other. People who are soldiers and so on. So when they are fighting and so on, if somebody has some handicap, that person would feel terribly inferior. And when we compare ourselves with other people, we may not be, having the same qualities like other people. One may be a good singer, another one may not be a good singer. Okay. So another one may be even, for example, another one may be tall, one may be short. So if, sorry. So inferiority is very important for him. At the same time, superiority doesn't mean that they are okay, they are better off. Okay, sorry. So, among the people with the different birth orders, sibling rivalry, one may feel inferior to other siblings. In the same way, we also have a sense of belonging. That is also one important concept in Adler's theory. Do we feel attached to somebody? He did not use the theoretical concept of attachment theory, that was a little later, but he said we want to have a sense of belonging. That is important. He also said, against Freud, Freud thought we have only sexual instincts, eros, libido, and thanatos. But Adler came up with another important instinct called social instinct. We want to cling together with other people. We want to relate. We want to, belong to somebody. We want others to belong to us. So, relationship with other people is important, necessary, and it is part of us, and it is positive, not negative. Freud was very deterministic. If you have a problem, you have some connection to your past experience. It may be traumatic, or you could not accept it. That is why you develop. Or your developmental stages were problematic. But, you know, Adler disagreed with Freud. No, it is not deterministic. We look at the past, but we also have, the ability to move on. We are not determined by only the past. Also, various other things determine So we need not focus only on the past. That is why Adler is called, in his theory, is very teleological. That means future oriented. So a sense of hope, development, growth, looking towards the future. That is why even inferiority need not be completely negative. If I feel inferior in one concept, I can motivate myself, I can practice, I can develop my skills, and even overcome completely my inferiority. I may rise above other people in the areas in which I felt inferior earlier. So, development of individual personality while understanding and accepting the interconnectedness of all humans was part of his theory. All these concepts were very important. Okay. So, all these contributed to his theory and therapy. 5 major tenets of Alfred Adler. We desire a sense of belonging. We control our own lives. Not necessarily the past controls our lives, present lives. We can control, we can take control. We act with purpose. We cannot simply say, I will be blaming the past all the time. Okay. We can act with purpose. We can form our own reality. We are holistic. We are not merely sexual, but holistic. We have other things. Wholeness is very important. So all these are very, very important to us. Common factors among theories. The therapeutic, not only in for the past 3 therapies we have seen, therapeutic relationship is important. Installation of hope, leave alone Freud, but all the other people said there is, we need to instill a sense of hope. New learning experience takes place either through insight or understanding or analysis or interpretation. Patients learn. Patients learn something about what happened or what is happening, about their thoughts, about their feelings, about what they are planning to do. So not only the past, but also the future. They learn about the families. They learn about the problems, the origin, the etiology of the problems, and how they are maintaining the problem. Of course, in any therapy, there is emotional arousal. Even in Freudian therapy, emotional arousal takes place. When they are narrating some stories, they are talking about some issue. They may be upset, or they may feel happy, or they may go through some emotional arousal. Whatever may be the emotion, there is an emotional arousal. Enhancement of mastery or self-efficacy. This is how, either through insight, interpretation, or actual teaching, people can learn many things. And also, except for Freud and psychoanalytic or psychodynamic therapies, opportunities for practice are given. Okay. So this is what happens in any therapy. Now we will very quickly see, unless you have questions about these 3. Sir, can I take a break for questions now, then go to humanistic? Hello.
Yes, Father. Yes, you may.
Yeah.
Participants, you can raise your hand. Mr. Mohan. Yeah, Dr. Vijay has raised.
Yeah, 1 minute.
Dr. Anto Richard has raised. Can you post your questions, please, on the chat box? Mr. Mohan, technician, could you unmute the mics, please? But there is a message in the chat box.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you please give example for reaction formation related to real life?
Okay. Reaction
Defense
formation.
mechanism.
Yeah. Okay. For example, I don't know. I will stop sharing. Otherwise, I'm not able to see people. Okay. What is reaction formation? We have certain instincts, certain desires coming from the unconscious. Instead of facing the reality and managing the anxiety, we develop some mechanisms to deal with the anxiety because this is overwhelming. Like, for example, I am terribly frightened of something. I will do something so that I am not afraid. Like, I will deny. Suppose, somebody is seriously sick, that will upset me. But I will say, no, 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 he will get well. That is a denial. I am ignoring or I am intellectualizing. Anybody who is sick like this, they don't die immediately. They will be all right. I may intellectualize or I may deny. Reaction formation. Spontaneously, instinctively, I have a negative desire, negative, thoughts and so on. I am drawn to doing something negative, but I know socially it is unacceptable. I want to do something so that I will be accepted. So I develop a new, consciously, I develop a new desire or maybe an action or a habit which can be acceptable, just the opposite of the original instinct I had developed. Okay. Like I gave you an example that the mother of the children, realizes that her husband is away with another woman. And she knows that one son resembles the husband who has cheated on her and living with someone else. So instinctively, she hates him. But she knows that this boy also is her own son. So she decides, I have to be nice to him because he is my son as well. So I will be nice to him. She goes to the other extreme of showing more love to this son who resembles the husband who went away, and then treats him with more affection, more concern. Suppose she buys dress for all the other people for, let us say, 5,000 rupees. She will spend more for this particular son because she is dealing with her own negative emotion or negative instinct and showing it in a very positive way. That is reaction formation. And outwardly, this may be coming up as a very positive event or a habit. But deep down, what motivates this lady to be so nice to this particular boy who resembles her husband is maybe negative, but what comes out can be positive. That is reaction formation. Okay. Somebody, Jerry.
Good evening, sir.
Um,
This is Vijay.
Yes, yeah, you can unmute your mic and speak. Could you come on the video, please?
Sir, this is Vijay.
Yes, yeah, you can come on the video if you don't mind.
Sir, I mind, sir.
Oh, sure, okay, no
Okay,
problem.
tell me
Yeah.
then. Yeah.
Go ahead, yeah.
Sir, as you said about Adler's concept, he collected informations about family for several generations, that is the birth order and sibling relationship. So does the genetic has an impact or the environment has an impact on psychic behavior, sir?
Adler did not talk about these two. He said, if there is connection to, and the problem has connection to somebody in the genealogy. Suppose father had a similar problem or the uncle had a problem. This will be enlightening to the therapist. Okay, there have been cases, so there may be connection. So this will be information for the client, and then they will see whether there is any similarity to other aspects of life as well. So he did not talk about environment, but we all know, they also knew, both Freud, Adler, Jung, everybody knew environment also affects somebody's growth and development, because what we learn from the family also will affect. That is why Adler gave importance to sibling rivalry, sibling relationships, family family context. All these were important because this is how we learn in our life, and this is how we also modify our personality and so on. Okay. Anybody else? Divya Sridharan?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Good evening, Father. Good evening, John sir.
Yeah.
Sir, based on dream analysis, I do have a question. This is out of my own um, experience, which I have based. Many times when you get a dream, it is not that you are able to recollect the complete dream and write it down in a paper. So, what would be the right action? And you would not be able to wake up in middle of your sleep and write it as well. So, how to take
Okay.
it further?
One question I will ask you. You have a dream and you yourself are not able to recollect the dream. What will you share with the therapist? Only what you know. Maybe bits and pieces.
Yes.
Certain things you will remember, certain things you may not remember.
Yes.
So, according to me, not according to Freud or Adler or Jung, they would analyze the dreams. They were happy to analyze because that is what they did. They knew. They thought dreams will give them some insights into their personality, why they have problems. But if you're asking me personally, we have to be very careful with the dream analysis. I personally would hold, because the person himself or herself may not be able to narrate the whole dream without any mistake. They may remember something.
100% accepted.
Yeah, they may not remember anything. Usually, we have many dreams every night. According to research, on an average, we have 6 dreams every night. We don't dream when we are having deep sleep. We dream only when we are partially asleep. Okay, so our mind is half awake and we are also trying to sleep or sleeping. So, when we are going down to deep sleep or when we are waking up from deep sleep, we may get some dreams. The dreams will be in our mind for only, say, 10 minutes.
அது எப்படி அது எப்படி எல்லா டைமும் நீ ரெக்கார்ட் போட்டுக்கிட்டே சுத்துவியா? இல்ல அப்புறம் எப்படி
Hello,
ரெக்கார்ட் ஆச்சு?
somebody is
சொன்ன ஆல்ரெடி சொன்னோம்.
Participants,
somebody is talking.
Kindly mute your mics, except the
அதான்
participants
என்னத்துக்கு
who have raised
சொன்னான்னு
their
தெரியல.
hands. Others are requested to mute your mics, please. Yeah, go ahead, Father.
Okay. So, dream analysis, we have to be very, very careful, because interpreting the dreams, I told you on the first day that we have a power relationship with our clients. If you interpret wrongly, if you suggest something, the clients may take your words very seriously.
Mm.
Suppose you say, oh, you had a dream about the snakes. Oh, in your dream, you were going in a tunnel and probably you are going to have some difficulties. Okay. If you go to the internet, every symbol will have some interpretation.
Yes.
If you use all these, you will be confusing the client. But there are people who swear by the dream analysis. Okay. They will say, we can interpret, we can help. There may be some truth to it, but I would be very careful in interpreting the dreams or the symbols in the dream. But at the same time, dreams are telling us something, but we may not be very clear about them. What
Yes.
is within in the unconscious may come up to the fore as a dream. There may be some connection, or maybe we are not able to find the connection from one symbol to another, from one dream to another. Within a same night, you may have different dreams, or dreams may have some connection. You can go through the dreams, if you remember, without immediately judging this is the meaning. Try to understand your life and then see whether there is any point of reference that you have, and make it positive. If something is frightening, if something makes you feel sad, in your conscious level, you can make the dream in your own interpretation. Okay, I'm going to be positive about this. I will prepare myself to deal with my life if there is anything negative connected with these dreams or with my reality. Okay, so
Okay.
that will be better rather than interpreting others' dreams.
Okay,
But in
Father,
those
just
days-
last yes or no
Yeah.
question alone on this part. So somewhere I read it and somewhere I have heard also people saying like whatever is in your subconscious mind continuously whatever you're thinking before going to sleep of 6 or 7 hours. That is what is going to come to your dream. So keep your mind without thinking or without activities before
That
at
is
least 6 hours. But actually, that is not possible, right, Father?
not
Before
possible.
6 hours, we cannot keep our minds like that.
Not
What would
possible
be
at
the
all.
better task to take it up?
Not possible at all. We are not even aware of our thoughts and feelings.
Hmm.
You know, sometimes we watch TV and go to sleep. You look at the messages and go to sleep. You look at your own body, and you may get some thoughts. You may look at your bedroom and get some thoughts. We are not aware of our thoughts. We cannot be like a blank state.
Yes.
Rasa Blanca, impossible. Okay. It is not possible to have a clean slate in our mind. So we don't know what we store in our unconscious, but we can conclude we store something in the unconscious, but we don't know. So we cannot straight away interpret whatever we get as a dream, but we can take it in the stride and then say, I will be careful in my real life. Okay.
Okay, Father. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Johnson.
Thank you.
Yes, Pradeep Babu, go ahead. Unmute your mic, please.
Yes. Good evening. Good evening, Father.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah. So, just as we have seen today,
Yeah, tell me. Hello.
I think he has got some disturbance from his side.
Sir, again, Vijay, shall I go with one more question, sir?
Yes, yeah, by the time he clears his mic, yeah, you can go ahead, ma'am.
Sir, in psychoanalysis therapy, you mentioned about this, what already ma'am told about dream analysis. This dream analysis is the one that we come across during REM sleep or the desire of life, sir.
In the REM sleep only, we normally dream.
Sir, I'm not asking about when we dream, sir. This
Ah.
dream analysis is actually the analysis during REM sleep period or the desire of life, because we usually we are in a fantasy world. When we go for such dreams, that many of the things may not be true or will happen. In that time, our psychology will go in turbulence.
Okay. Tell me, finish the question.
In what way we can maintain our life?
Become aware that you have certain dreams at night, that when you are awake, you have certain conscious dreams or subconscious dreams. You have some desires. You can think of all those, become aware of all of them. And then you can choose, for yourself what to do, what not to do, what is the best. You look at the, pros and cons, whether your desires are realistic, rational, you can do something about it, then you can do. Not all desires will be, possible. They may not happen. But we can become aware, these are the desires, these are the fantasies we have in our life. Not all fantasies will happen. Have I answered your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, we move on to Pradeep Babu. You can unmute your mic. You ready?
really sorry there was an interruption.
No
Okay.
problem. Yeah, go ahead.
There is there is always a constant evolution, development, changes in the concepts. What is prevalent or prominent today, and in your counseling, what you prefer, or you take any one of these concepts to deal with counseling, or how, which is a prominent one today?
Okay. If you ask me what I use in my counseling, I believe in the existence of unconscious as well. Not only conscious, but also unconscious. We get dreams, but I personally don't analyze dreams as Freud or Jung would do. Okay. I take it in a holistic way, in a a dream or life together in a totality, and then say in what way you can use some of the important insights from your dream or your desires into add them into your own life. We do use certain you know ego defense mechanisms without our knowledge, because sometimes we deny, we don't know why we deny. So there are certain ego defense mechanisms whenever we are not able to accept the reality, whenever it is humiliating us or offending us, we do use certain. Not all the concepts will be useful to me, but certain things. Many of us deny certain things. We also use sublimation as one of the techniques. Because something is negative, I grow beyond that so that I sublimate, make my negative instinct into a positive attitude. All these are very good. Sometimes we also, believe in transference and countertransference. In therapy, it happens. Sometimes, even in class, I look at somebody and I may get ideas about another person whom I had met earlier, not necessarily in therapy. So we associate one with the other, one characteristic with the another person. We also have something called, collectively we have certain ideas and concepts in our mind. This may be part of our collective bias or prejudice. We may not even analyze, what operate within us, all these. Adler is very useful. All his concepts, this family constellation, I had not mentioned in the slide. Family constellation is very important, where we grow up, how we grow up in a family, what were the events that shaped us, what rules we had. On the first day, I talked about the psychological mechanism. Second day, psychological mechanism. One of them was, rules. Where do we get the rules? Where do we get the values? What is right, what is not right? All those will be useful. Also, we need to be teleological in our mind. We cannot say, we cannot keep on blaming the past, saying, my parents did not show me enough love. That is why I'm suffering. That is why I'm going to feel depressed forever. I cannot keep on blaming. I need to move on in life towards the future. So, being filled with hope towards the future, understanding the past. Also, currently, I need to be here and now. Once again, humanistic concept of here and now. We need to be mindful, positive psychology. So already I'm telling you indirectly that I am using an integrated approach to therapy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
One therapy is not enough.
Yeah.
One therapy is not enough for all the patients.
But what I felt, there is a method in particular concept, my father. So following up a method also will help a person to deal with
Yes.
with the counseling. So picking up one particular method from here and methods from different concepts. So will it not be like we confuse with ourselves or with
No. When we choose an effective therapy, the rule is, am I comfortable with this therapy?
Yeah.
Am I an expert in this therapy? Will this client be okay with this therapy? Is he meant for this therapy? What about the problem? The problem, for certain problems, psychoanalysis will not help. Okay. For certain problems like, behavioral problems, psychoanalysis, will take long time. By the way, in our country, people don't come often or many times for therapy. When you do counseling, you realize that the people want to solve all their problems, all their family problems, all their life problems in one session. They are coming again second time, it's a miracle sometimes.
Oh,
So,
yeah, right.
I cannot do psychoanalysis in one session.
Okay.
Even Adler's therapy will require many sessions. Even to get information about their family constellation, genealogy, and also their lifestyle questionnaire will take quite some time. So, according to Indian context, Indian mindset, I have to finish the therapy very quickly.
Yeah.
because they will not come. They will stop in between. They will say, I will come next week. They will postpone. There will be a lot of resistance because there is also a stigma attached to going for counseling.
You're right.
Okay. Unfortunately, insurance companies don't pay the counselors. In the US and other places, the patients don't worry about the money. If they
Okay.
have insurance for mental health, automatically insurance companies pays the counselors, and counselors will fix 8 sessions or 12 sessions or even more. Here people have to pay then and there, or they will have to promise I will pay you, on this day. So they are worried about the cash flow. Depending on the problem, depending on the client, depending on your expertise, you'll have to choose the therapy. Some clients will say, I want this therapy to be used.
Okay.
If they are okay with the therapy and if the therapy suits their problems, then I will say, okay, that is a good therapy. So I must be familiar with many therapies. I
Okay.
cannot simply say, I know only one therapy, I will use it for everyone. That will be doing harm to the clients. That will be not, against non-malfeasance in the ethical principle. So most of us, even in the US, many people are using integrated approach. But
Okay.
in practice, when you are studying, when you are practicing in the beginning, you practice one therapy as only one therapy. Do not mix other therapies, other concepts when you are practicing. You know what
Okay.
you are doing. If you are doing psychoanalysis, do only psychoanalysis. If you are doing Adler's therapy, only Adlerian therapy, individual therapy. You cannot confuse or mix because you'll be confusing. And if they are philosophically contradictory, you'll be
Yeah.
harming people. People will find the contradictions in us, in our ideas, and in our
Yeah. You're
approach.
right.
So we need to pick and choose. I cannot simply, we say in the restaurant called Burger King, you can make salad as you like. I want this kind of bread. I want only lettuce. I want onion. I want this. You can pick and choose. In therapy, we cannot do that. We cannot be as if we are in Burger King. Okay.
Yeah.
We have to follow in our practice. We should know what we are doing. Am I borrowing some technique from another therapy? I should know. I cannot simply say, Freud has talked about this technique. I cannot say, Paul Rogers used this technique, so I am using. No, we cannot confuse ourselves and the clients.
Father, we have a
Thank you,
couple
sir.
of more questions to
Okay.
be addressed.
Yeah.
One from Dr. P. Bharati.
Yes, sir. Can I?
Yes, yeah. Go ahead.
Yes. Good evening, Father.
Good evening.
Father, I need two clarification from you. The
Okay.
first one is,
Can you turn on
as
the
the-
video? Yeah. So that I
Yeah.
don't miss your words.
Okay, sir. So as a teacher, how we deal with egoist student?
How we deal with
Egoist student.
egoistic or egotistic?
Egoistic student.
Okay. Egoistic, they are selfish. They blow up their image. They are interested only in their welfare. All of us have ego. All of us have, self-protection, self-boosting tendencies. All of us. As a child, we are all selfish. By the way, it's my personal opinion. All of us are born selfish. We grow up selfish. We die selfish. To go beyond selfishness to become other. Can you turn off somebody's mic is on? Hello, please turn off your mic other than Usharani. Okay.
Dr. Bharati, yes.
Yeah. Dr. Usharani, all of us are
Dr.
selfish.
Bharati, yes.
Okay. All of us are selfish, basically, deep down, because we need to protect ourselves. We need to grow, develop on our own. Okay. So to go beyond self, we require training from our parents, from our teachers, from religions. So they must teach us to become other-oriented. So some of us, if we feel inferior or if we find ourselves inadequate, we become more egoistic. Me, myself, I, mine, that will be the major concept in them. But people will recognize that we are egoistic. Egoistic people are very selfish, self-centered, and they will not be relating well with others. So how to help them? Make them become aware that they have these tendencies. Okay, they are clients, make them become aware that they are focusing only on themselves. They will, egotism is they are talking about only themselves. Some people also become egotistic, not only egoistic. Some people, yeah, my wife told me, I was in one office, one guy came and shared with me, his wife's name, and then started sharing. I said, I don't know whom you are talking about. Oh, my wife. I told him, I don't know your wife. Then he said, no, I am talking about my wife. So there are people who constantly talk about themselves, their achievements, their glory, all that they have done in their life. That is egotism. Egoism, we all of us share something, but when it goes beyond a limit, we are not happy with such people. We avoid them. They are not good conversationalists, and they may not be good friends. So make them become aware of this tendency and ask them, maturity lies in going outside yourself so that you will become other-oriented.
So we take
Father,
the
and my
last question.
second question is, Father, and my second question is, what are all the disadvantages we are having in using the theories in counseling process?
Say that again, we use theory all the time. If you are not using any particular theory or therapy that we have already seen, that we have already studied, we may use our own theory. All of us have theories. If you ask your students, why do people have problems? They will have a theory. How to get rid of this problem? They will have a theory. So all of us have some theory. It may not be generalized or it may not be globally accepted theory. So all our actions are based on our theory. Our theory is based on the psychological mechanism that I talked about the other day. We have a philosophy of human nature. Freud's philosophy of human nature, I explained today. Jung's, I shared a little. Adler, I shared a little. This is their philosophy of human nature. All of us have some theory of human nature, philosophical theory. But are they acceptable to other people? Is it generalizable? If we cannot generalize it, I may use it only for myself, but I may be also wrong. I may be right in certain things, I may not be right in everything. I cannot confuse other people with my theory. That is why we have certain commonly accepted theories which were used in their lifetime, in the founder's lifetime, and they have helped some people. Research also indicates certain theories are useful for certain people. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much, Father. So,
So
looks
one
like
last question from my end, sir.
Participants have a lot of questions and mainly they're centered around the dreams and things like that. So, there is a question there, as Freud said, a dream of outcome of unconscious, and Adler said dreams are the outcome of present and future oriented. Actually, dreams represent which one? Is it conscious or unconscious?
Dreams are mixed with, past, present, including future. Your dreams, desires also will be part of your dream. What you have experienced through your five senses, what you have reflected in your mind, okay? It can be a combination of many things. Have you seen a kaleidoscope? Hello?
Yes, Father. We have seen.
Somebody is talking. Okay. A kaleidoscope, is a kind of a many-sided instrument. There is a little peephole there are inside some color pieces. You rotate, you get one picture. You rotate, you get another picture. This is similar to the dreams. Okay, so many things are connected, combined, and they present in the form of images or pictures. So what is what we cannot explain completely. But these are part of our life. This is part of our reality as well. We get dreams. How do you
So
see
we
them?
have the Father, we have the final question from Divya Sridharan. Please go ahead, ma'am, quickly.
Yes, sir. Just two questions. Father,
Yeah.
nowadays people are speaking about self-care, self-affection, and everything. Is it something related to this egotism and egoistic character? Is it
We
yes
need to
or
have
no?
self-care. We need to have self-care, which is very important. If
Okay.
we cannot take care of ourselves, we cannot take care of other people. When we say we need to be other-oriented, we also begin with self-care. Self-protection is part of us, it is an instinctive drive.
No, not self-protection, self-affection. They say self-care, self-affection, and everything to the self
This
is
is,
first more than carrying on others.
okay. Taking the concepts to one extreme and then say, if you are completely other-oriented, you may ignore yourself. You may deny your own needs. You also need to grow and develop. So to some extent, for those people who are completely other-oriented, that means they are ignoring or deleting their own needs, basic needs. We will tell them, you have to look after yourself as well. Let us start with self-affection. What
Got
is
you,
the
Father.
another word that you said?
Self-care, self-affection,
All
and
these
many
are
things
connected with
based
that.
where they are just
Yeah.
starting it itself. Got your concept, Father. Just last question: the 0 to 2 oral stage, based on the dream analysis only. 0 to 2 are only babies. They don't even have that brain function grown up or anything.
Babies have dreams. Very often you see the babies.
Just relating the dots, Father. People do say like God come and speak to them, so babies are laughing, or God is
This is
playing
our
with
own
them.
interpretation. This is
Okay.
our own interpretation. We cannot get any idea about what they dream when they are 2 years old or even 3 years old.
But that is the pinch over there, Father, because 0 to 2, the brain development will be very less, and how
Maybe.
is that they are getting that
Maybe it is there, but
mind?
we cannot get any idea of what they dream.
Okay.
Okay. So we cannot do that kind of dream analysis. Even for adults, they don't remember. So it's our own
No, it's not relating
interpretation.
to the dream analysis. Okay. Just would like to understand why is that they are smiling, or why is that they are opening their mouth while they're sleeping. That just would like to
We have
get into
no
that.
clear understanding. Sometimes, some people will explain, some Christians will explain, angels are appearing to them.
Yes, they say
They are
the same
children
at my
of
home.
God.
Yes.
We cannot prove it. We cannot convince other people with this idea. Okay.
Okay.
It may be
Yes,
good
Father.
for us to understand that children also have dreams, that they are children of God, that they are pleasant about themselves, or God is pleased with them. That may be the
Okay.
idea, but we cannot prove it as a scientific idea.
Got you. Thank you so much, Father.
Thank you.
Yes, participants, that bring us to the end of day 4, and tomorrow will be the last day of online presentation by Reverend Dr. Emmanuel S.J. And on Saturday, we will have the offline classes, and we would like to know how many of you will be joining us for the offline classes. So kindly send us a message, and we'll be happy to know the number of participants who will be attending the online classes on Saturday. That will happen from 9
Sir, is
a.m.
it a
to
mandatory
1.
one? We have to come to
No.
online
It's not
classes?
mandatory. It's not mandatory. Only those who can come.
Okay, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
yeah,
But if
those who
you're
can
around
come.
Trichy,
Yeah.
you
No,
can
sir,
come
I'm from
because you will
Chennai.
profit. Okay.
Yeah,
You're away,
you
it
don't
is
have
okay.
to come. Yeah, it's not mandatory. However, it will be live telecast, and the recordings of the proceedings will be sent to you in our YouTube channel. So it is not mandatory that you should come to Trichy. And at least those people who are in and around Trichy, we welcome you. Welcome you to St. Joseph's College for offline classes. So that brings us to the end of day 4. Thank you very much, Father, for your insightful, presentations. I think you stirred a lot of, questions from the participants. Thank you very much. Thank you, one and all, and we call it a day. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.